What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Clutch Kicker Nation Garage. We are here with premium content, and today it is featuring the 1JZ, the legendary vvti single turbo JZEX110 drive-by-wire engine. I don't know. Either way, hopefully that intro hypes you up, because it hypes me up. Just looking at this every day hypes me up. But we are here, and we have one goal today. Swap the engine in the car and go drifting. Yeah, man. No. I wish. I really do. Trust me. I wish that was that simple. But today, it is startup day. Yeah, you know, we're going to drop it in startup. No, actually, today's objective is we're going to start the 1JZ. We're going to get her started on the ground, make sure she starts, make sure she's healthy, get some heat in the cylinders, reseat the rings, recompression check it, and see where we're at. So, basically, I'm not going to go super in depth on how to do this. I will show you what I have discovered looking at some YouTube videos, checking some wiring diagrams online, and I'll show you how I'm going to get this thing started. I've done some testing already, kind of got this set up and everything to kind of expedite this so I don't have to waste a lot of time. And I can just kind of show you the quick and dirty way of starting your 1JZ on the ground and everything like that. There's two ways to do it. We could do it one way, or we could do it two ways. The first way is we could use starting fluid as our fuel. Okay, that'll check everything with the engine's compression internally, mechanically, and the ignition system, but it won't check the injectors or the part of the ECU that controls the injectors and stuff. So it kind of is like a 50% test. In theory, if it starts on starting fluid, it's going to start with a fuel pump and gas. But I kind of would like to see if I can get started with a fuel pump and stuff. So I got a container somewhere over here. I got a little bit of gasoline. I got a WRX fuel pump lying around. I may try to see if I can't wire up a quick little fuel system to try and get it started with some gas. If I can't, then we're just going to use starting fluid. But I'm going to get some things together, I'm going to go through the wiring, and then I'm going to show you what we're going to do and how we're going to easily get this engine running on the ground. Because from the sounds of it, it takes like 4 or 5 wires, and technically this thing should be running. So now, then again, disclaimer, I'm not responsible for anything you do with your engine. Verify with wiring diagrams or other sources of resources. Use this just as a guide. And make sure you wire it properly so you don't fry anything. Alright, so formalities are out of the way. Let's try to see if we can't make some 1J noise today. So I'm gonna get some stuff, I'll bring you back, and we'll get started. Alright guys, so I've already been ordering parts and we got some things that have come in. So we have some Felpro gaskets. So pretty much what we have here is we have, this is going to be the rear main gasket if you're interested. This comes with the housing gasket, the retainer gasket, and the actual rear main. We're probably just going to use the rear main and leave the retainer on there because we're not pulling the oil pan. Then we have some valve cover gaskets. These do not come with the bolt grommets. The washers on top, I had to order those separately from Drift Motion. So those are coming as well. Then we have a 2JZ 93 to 98 2JZ, or as this says, it is a JZX81 1JZ GE. That's actually really interesting because I actually got this off of Rock Auto, believe it or not, and here they are sending me a water pump for a Mark II, a Chaser, a Cresta, JZ81 1993 with a 1JZ GE. That's extremely funny because this was listed for a 93 to 98 Toyota Supra 2JZ GTE non-VVTi. We have our front main seal, so there's that part number. We have a stock thermostat for a 2JZ non-VVTi, should fit for my gathering. Went with some classic BKR70 spark plugs, the normal status for any type of turbocharged engine, pretty much anything, this is what they're running. This engine does come with Denso Iridiums from the factory. They're about $5-6 a plug. You can get them pretty easily. I think they're a 6 heat range, which is fine for stock setup. We're going to up the boost a little bit, so I wanted to go with 7s, and these are copper plugs, so they're like $2 a piece. So you can't go wrong with these. The cost to replace them every 5,000-10,000 miles is so cheap. So we got a couple sets of those, and then you know, comes with our water pump gasket. you know, just call the parts store and ask them what that is. Either way, looking nice to freshy with the metal fan blades, icing or whatever, however you want to pronounce that, OEM quality. So I didn't go with Toyota gaskets. Felpro's always been good to me. They're high quality gaskets. This one's front main seals made in Taiwan. This one, valve cover gaskets made in USA, which is pretty much, you know, they're perma-dry valve cover gaskets. And the rear main seals outsourced. It's actually made in Japan. So I'm not sure which one it is, but it's a quality looking rear main seal. So I have a lot of other parts coming from Drift Motion as well. Some valve cover washers, some VVTI rebuild seals, the cam gears, Toyota cam gear seals. What else did I get? Oh, I got their pulley kit, because with the 2JZ GTE water pump or JZX81 or whatever, you have to switch over to the super water pump because the hub size is bigger. I don't know. And then I'm going with the excessive manufacturing motor mounts, power steering, well, power steering brace, but it's an AC delete kit. And I believe I got from Drift Motion, I think I got their drive-by-wire delete or something like that to try out, even though I'm running stock ECU. We're going to see if we can't make that work to get rid of the electronic throttle. But anyways, I got a bunch of goodies. They're all coming, and I got my adapter plate ordered. Oh my God, I've just been throwing money away. But it's for a good cause. It's for a really good cause. But I pretty much have got, and I bought my clutch too, which I'll give you more details on that. But it's going to be a stock BMW pressure plate with a 6-puck sprung disc. It's kind of, and not an eBay one. I didn't get an eBay one. I thought about it. Trust me. The temptation was there to just get a FX Racing Grip Force, whatever, no name eBay disc. But it's non-sprung. You know, it's a rigid hub. And I don't have a dual mass like the stock setup, so I just thought it'd probably be a lot of drivetrain wear for no reason. We're already drifting, which is abusive, so I should really get a sprung hub. So I went with an ACT disc, but the pressure plates, that's the variable. All in all, I probably built a badass clutch for cheaper than any other manufacturer. I'm almost cheaper than eBay prices, honestly, for the clutch setup I'm going to be running, if it works. Which, with all my research, I'm pretty sure it will. But I gotta wait for the parts to get here, and I'll explain it to you. Hopefully it helps some of you guys out. But it is a factory BMW pressure plate and a race disc. Which BMW pressure plate? Who knows? Stay tuned in another video. Alright guys, well it looks like the sun has came out and the skies have cleared a little bit. Which is nice because, sadly, there was a drift event today. I found out really late. And with everything going on, I just didn't have the time to make it. And it really sucks. I wish I could have went, but you know, there's just a lot to do, and everything is basically over anyways. But we did get some things accomplished. Let me show you the setup. So here's the setup I'm running. Disclaimer, it's risky. You do what you want. So we got WRX fuel pump in there with a little bit of gasoline. We got the feed line and the return line hooked up. All right. Now looking at the ECU here, you'll have to look on wiring diagrams, but basically, as you can see, I pretty much have everything tied in right here. So, working on this plug here, and you'll have to get on your wiring diagram. If you have the ETC-SI, you need to put power to this wire. You have the top right wire, and then you have the 3 in a row, the 3 in a row, and the bottom right. So, this wire, these 3 wires, this wire down here, and this top left wire. So that's pretty much the only 6 wires that you need to send power to on this ECU. So over here you have our 3 plugs that go to our wiring harness, and then you have all these other wires that are just, I honestly don't know what they go to. Probably systems like traction control and other things. Things we're not using, I'm not worried about. So if you look on this blue plug coming off of the harness here, it's pretty much just it's a black wire. It's a thick wire right in the middle. So if you see back here, it's this one right there, that big thick black one. It could be black and yellow. It just depends on year of your harness or whatnot. That's your starter power. So that's your signal to your starter. So what I have that rigged up to a switch that, you know, like basically like cranking. So just hook that to power and then hook that wire up to that so that that'll send signal to the starter. You have your starter wire coming off the power supply for your starter. If you didn't want to like bridge into this, you can go right onto the starter on the back here and unplug it and bridge power from a battery or whatever onto that. That'll work too. Alright, so now after you have your starter, you have, so on the back of this plug off the harness, you got the blue and red one here, the blue and red one here. Those are like your injectors in your coil. The black one right here is your starter, and then this black and red one here, that is, I believe, your mass airflow sensor, so you need that one. So it's 1, 2, 3, and this blue and red one up here, 4. So we're going to take those wires, which on here they're going to be different colors, but it's going to be this green one, this black and white one, and we're going to send those to 12 volts. So we have those all coming over here to 12 volts, along with our 6 wires from our one ECU plug, our switch hooked up to the starter wire. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. You need a total of basically 10 wires, and then power to the starter, and a fuel pump or starting fluid, depending on how you want to do this. I wanted to do this with the fuel pump to test basically the injectors and everything. Now what I did, I don't have any intake piping, so I shoved the map in the turbo and just put this hammer here just so it would hold it. But it would be optimum to put it over here with a coupler or something, but or have a pipe or something, but I don't. So 10 wires. If you're ETCSI, you need top left one, and then the 5 over here. So this one, this one, this one, and this one. 3 in a row, 1 on the top right and 1 on the bottom right. So 3 across, 1 above, 1 below, and the one all the way in the top left. And then on this plug here, this is the body plug. I forget, it's like the whatever, you can look it up. But we're going to do blue and red, starter in the center, and red and black. So 1, 2, 3 go 12 volt, and then the center one, the big thick one, that's your starter trigger wire. Kind of scattered, but it does work. And what this is going to do is going to allow us to fire her up, get some heat in the cylinder, seal up those cylinder walls, you know, spread those piston rings to make sure that this motor is making healthy compression, and then we're going to do a compression check and see if all is good. So now I have the fuel pump ran off the same feed that I'm going to hook up my battery. I'm just using a battery over here with some jumper cables. Got it grounded down here to the frame or the engine block, and then the ground comes off, and that's what I'm going to trigger the fuel pump with on the battery. So if we hook this up and then take all these wires here and our starter wire, crimp it on there like so, you can hear our fuel pump is working. So that's step 1. And then we have no power here because we're not grounded. And when I connect this ground, it's going to power the ECU and everything, and you'll hear it buzz. So now you can hear the ECU buzzing, and now we're pretty much live. And when we crank this, we're going to have a start of the motor. So I'm going to hold the fuel pump wire, and I'm going to crank her over, and she should start. Alright, so she fired. So that's good. Now the main problem we're going to have here is that mass airflow sensor is not reading any air, and it's going to throw everything off. This has been really exciting, actually. I've never started a motor on the ground, so it actually is really informative, and it's just really cool to see all the simple mechanics of sending some power here, putting some fuel in there, and getting her to fire. Right there, I was just, that little bit of Jay-Z noise we just heard, oh, sounds good. But I expect it's going to smoke a bit and everything's going to run really rich. Obviously, it's been sitting, and I had some transmission fluid down the cylinders to free up the rings and everything. So I expect some smoke, whatever, it is normal. And I just can't wait to hear her purr. She's probably not going to idle very well. But you know what? It is what it is. So here we go. Let's see what happens. And there we have it, guys. She came alive. That's right. Good old 1J. Fired up. Sounds good. So, the next step. We just got her hot. She ran good enough for us to know that I didn't hear no knocking. I didn't hear anything bad like that. I can verify this engine does run, which is great. So now what I'm going to do is, so I pretty much killed the fuel pump. That should have depressurized the fuel. So I'm going to get all this stuff unhooked. That's not necessary, like all the fuel lines and stuff like that, and all the ECU and stuff, because we're not going to try to run it anymore. And then we're going to go over a compression check to make sure the motor is in fact healthy, because if you remember from me picking up this motor, the compression was low. I put some transmission fluid down in the cylinders. I didn't have MMO, that's what I used to use on like rotaries and stuff to like free up carbon stuck apex seals. But transmission fluid has high detergence, so I used that. And we're going to just do a quick compression check, and we're going to see if she's good and healthy. Alright guys, so I've went ahead and I have basically removed all the spark plugs and all the coils and everything, so we can do our compression check. If you've never done a compression check before, you're basically, if you're testing on the vehicle, you want to unhook the fuel or ignition source, well obviously the ignition source, but fuel and stuff like that, and install your gauge, and then you're just going to crank her over and everything. So I'm gonna get this installed, and we're gonna go through and check each of these cylinders. All right guys, let's see how she do. All right, 180 on the dot. Cylinder 2. $180. Cylinder 3. $180. Numero 4. Oh yeah. Cinco. Ooh, baby. And last but not least, number 6. That's what I'm talking about. 180 across the board. So now we've started the engine, we've verified it runs, we have recompression checked and verified that it's even across the board. So this motor is as healthy as I can say any Japanese import motor you could hope for, just from our preliminary tests. I mean, it runs, compression's good, and it's clean, no knocking, no nothing. So now it's time to divorce the transmission from the engine, get it on a stand, tear it apart, replace all the crap that we got, water pump, time belt, all that stuff, get her freshed up for the race car. Alright guys, we have the engine and transmission have been divorced. They're no longer married. Sorry. But I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing mounted on the stand and everything like that, and we'll be you know, pretty much good to start dismantling it. I mean, the AC's got to come off, you know, timing covers, timing belt, all that stuff. We're doing all that stuff, water pump, all that stuff. So you know, and I'll probably power wash the motor, try to clean it up and everything. But yeah, let me get this on stand and everything, and then I don't know, we'll see where we go from there. It's getting close to me calling it quits. All right guys, well there it is, all mounted on the stand. That wasn't that bad. It's nice to get her up there. I still think this is hilarious. Little drive joy. I know I get a lot of joy when I drive. You get a drive joy. But yeah, that's gonna pretty much wrap up this video and everything. Hopefully you enjoyed getting the 1J started, and hopefully that helps you out if you're trying to do something similar and test your motor before dropping it in and spending all that time and finding out it's bad and being outside your 30-day warranty or whatever the case may be. Yeah, other than that, you know, I can post in the, I'll put in the description some of the resources I used. There was a good video on YouTube that showed which pins to use. There's also a very good web page that lists all the pinouts for the 2JZ vvti Aristo, which is pretty much the exact same wiring as this. And other than that, it's pretty simple, like 10 wires and you know, some fuel or starter fluid, and you know, you can get her started. But either way, that's it. Please like, share, subscribe to the video. If you're not a subscriber, think about subscribing. We've got content coming. We've got some 1J. You know, we got the S13, we got the BMW. We're going drifting next weekend, which you'll probably see this way out of whack. But either way, after this video, we're going drifting. And yeah, that's about it. So later.